I'm sad. Now, Kelvin, as most Nigerian engineers are, they're not exactly the talky type or the in touch with feeling type. So, Kelvin comes over to my house and he works on the island and I live on the mainland. So it's for those of us who know Lagos, it's a terrible commute on a weekday. And he comes to my house in dead of night with a bottle of whiskey. And he just goes, "You're sad. I can't help, but let's drink." And we just sit and we drink whiskey in silence. And somehow it helped. Well, that is not to, support whiskey drinking, by the way. I did not say drink whiskey. But we just had drinks in silence, breathing in and out, sighing, thinking about our days. But it was just two adults in open air drinking whiskey. And I was just thinking about how supportive the entire, evening was. And yes, really, just like I also said, support involvement doesn't necessarily have to be work done. It can be being in the same space. It can be awareness. It can be a story shared. It can be a drink shared. It can be advice given, insights shared, everything. I know it's not about being sad, I don't know, but literally support is all encompassing and very situation specific. So today we're having a support themed event, and we are so glad that we have you here today. It means that today you can ask your questions and gain insights, or you can just be in the room listening. So whatever your questions have been for the past 6 months, bring it here. So we have people who are important parts of deep funding, our circles, our leaders, our coordinators who are going to be here. We're going to be doing everything from payments issues to updates about events, just so that you know and just so that you are heard. So sit tight, draft your questions, ask it in any way. There are no silly questions. Yes, even if your question has been answered a million times in the previous meetings, you can still ask anyway. We understand that processes differ for people, and what we are just going to try to provide today as circles, as coordinators, as deep funding members in this beautiful community of ours is support in its interesting. It's not about whiskey. It's not about whiskey, guys. That's not the point of the story. Why is that your takeaway? Why? That was such a beautiful story. Don't be sad and don't drink whiskey. I'm not sure your liver should take it. It's not good for you. Even though I did go to medical school, I mean, it's not good for you. But anyways, guys, thank you for being here. We really do appreciate it. And we're just going to get started, right? And we have an interesting agenda as always, because event circle, we really do give you guys good food to eat here at these events. So we're just going to be kicking it off first with Rojo, and he's going to be giving some updates on the new deep funding database. It's important that we know these things. So whether or not it sounds too techy for you, just listen in anyways. And again, no questions are silly. Ask away. And it was Hennessy. VSOP. Hennessy. Whiskey. Just so you guys know. Hi, Roho, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, over to you. Thank you. Updates. Go.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's been a while. So yeah, today I'll be updating you a bit about two things. I mean, there is the database component, the place where we keep everybody's information safe and secured, and basically the powerhouse of all, let's say, technical-oriented operations that we have here in the community, whether payments or tasks management and all these kind of things. So we did have a migration last week. We had our first payment using the new database. We had a couple of hiccups last week, as maybe some of you were affected. We had a couple of auditing sequences that we had this week, and everything should be ready for this week's payment. That's the first component. The second component is actually the platform, and then I can share my screen. So this is yeah, I sent a request for sharing the screen.
I've granted you permissions.
Thank you very much. So this is not this is the admin version. This is like a playground version that we have here hosted on a random link. So yeah, this is payment. So basically, one of the main kind of advantages of having this platform is that all our community members, including circle members, awarded teams, will have access to this platform. Now, you will not necessarily have the same view, since each type of users, you can see here, we have many types of users. That includes admin coordinators, members, review coordinators, awarded teams. This is the admin view, which will be soon live and available to the, the defunding staff and the people running the kind of the operations. This is, well, we have here the payment dashboard. This is the place where the magic happens, basically, for payments. We have a couple of things. For example, usually if you have a payment record here, for your tasks, for example, we can find something for tasks here, maybe. Yeah, this one, for example. And these are just random records, so don't worry about it. So here, the admin basically, checks out the kind of the data here and either approves or rejects. Let's say we'll approve, and that's the first step. And then after that, we have things like payment processing. Maybe I shouldn't go too many details here. I mean, but basically there is the payment processing in the payment day. That's basically where you choose the chain where the payment is going to happen. You choose the token that's going to be paid. Currently, all the payments are being done in Cardano using FET, but we are discussing kind of other options in the future. Nothing is written yet, so I think Rafael or Jan will probably talk to you about this once it's ready. Yeah, I mean, enough about payments, I guess. We have, for example, here we have circles and work groups. This is a place where basically you can add members, you can edit existing circles. For example, you can add a new coordinator. You can change the type. I guess if a work group becomes a circle, you can change its type from here. You can also add members, which is quite cool. So you can, by writing the name of the member and choosing the circle and the role that they will have, which is admin or member, then you can add people as well here. And you can also offboard members. That's, I guess, one of the options as well. We can also create, all of these are operational stuff. I don't think most of you will be excited about these things, but yeah, we can also create circles and whatnot. Here we have member records as well. I think maybe to not talk about too many things that is not interesting for everyone. One thing that would be interesting for most people is actually you can edit your information. So we have been having a lot of issues with people changing wallets sometimes, and maybe the message doesn't go through, and maybe you'll have some wallet problems. And here you can basically, for example, wait, let me click on edit first. So I don't know, there's a random wallet here. And then if I save it, then this is my new wallet, right? This applies to your email as well. So if you want to be we will have contacting information by email as well. So it won't be just Mattermost communication. So you receive emails about your payments, about these kind of things. So yeah, you might want to keep your email up to date. There is the Mattermost username here that you can update as well for the tags to work when you're being tagged. Yeah, I mean, more or less this is it. I think what's going to be more interesting for the all hands will be when the member portal will be ready, and the coordinator, and member obviously more, because there are more members than coordinators. And once that is ready, I think it's going to be much more interesting, because members will see real time which tasks have been paid, which tasks are scheduled to be paid. They will see analytics about the time that they have spent and the payments that they have spent. They will also have tracking links where they can see those payments on chain. You'll be also able to see some analytics about your circle, what's happening there, how many people are there, how many tasks are happening, all these things. More or less, this is it. Due to an incident that happened last week, as I mentioned with the payment, one thing that we will be adding is before, so once a payment record is created in your name, you will receive a DM on Mattermost saying to you that a payment has been scheduled for you, and this is the wallet address that it will be sent to. Now, looking at that DM, there are two things. You read it, you see everything is okay, so you don't do anything, and then the payment will go through. The second thing, you see something wrong, you go like, no, this is not my wallet address, and God forbid, no, maybe, for example, for your tasks, you have more tasks, and you see $5, but you're supposed to get paid 500, whatever. For these kind of issues, then you can reach out to IO from operation, and we will make sure to solve your problem. Yeah, this is more or less it from my side. If you have any questions, by the way, yeah.
Not a question, but nice addition, this one in the DMs, as you know, having this, it's nice thought. Thank you for that.
Any questions, any things, suggestions would be great, actually. Jan, I'm not sure whether, is that a hands up?
It's a hand. Let me see, like.
Oh, yeah. The animation is different here from Google.
But any case, yeah, I think we need to. So this is coming along great, and it gives a very stable, reliable impression already, and I can't wait to have all that other functionality rolled out, and then next thing will be to have also a partner area where partners can see all their things. So this is absolutely essential for our program. Let's start with that, and to have all this solid will save us so much issues and challenges. And we don't want Rafa's hair to become just as gray as mine, at least for the next couple of years. So this is a good measure against that. However, I was wondering which of this information, you also shared some links to Metabase reports and graphs, charts with me, and they are great as well. It's inviting to explore and to see what's going on. If you're into data, then you will love those kind of things. I see no objection for having those charts at least publicly available.
Well, I can get to that if you want. I can explain which ones will be public and which one will not.
Yeah, so that would be my question, the charge, but also the operations portal. We need to think about what we will offer for the general public, what will be, well, the role-based thing will be clear, and how to publish it and where to publish it.
So currently so the guest kind of section or the visitor section, which is the place where you don't have to sign in to access, will have only analytics, which makes sense. But which analytics? That's the big question. Now, with the previous approach with the platform we had before, we went with, okay, analytics about rounds should be public and the status of projects and stuff like that, right? How much was paid, how many milestones were finished, those should be public since they're already public on the defunding platform. So that makes sense. Now, the one thing that I'm not sure about is actually the circles and members. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to share people's names and stuff like that, but just analytics about the circles, what's happening, how many hours are spent, these kind of things. Now, this is probably up to you and also the circles. I don't know, this like it's a good place to have this conversation. Actually, the all hands is a perfect place for it. So yeah, that's that. For other things, payments, I'm not sure how public do you want that to be, like, because that shows like all the spendings. I don't know. It's up to you, to be honest, for the payment part.
Yeah, so I would say in general, the starting point is everything should be transparent. But then again, I'd rather not share any personal identifiable information. It's nobody's business outside that this week you worked on 3 tasks or whatever. People may have a day job. We don't want to get them into trouble. But as a general measure of privacy, I think Well, my current inclination is to say, well, let's hide the names of people in these reports, just as a precaution. If everybody, on the other hand, here would say, no, it's fine, I have my name out there, I'm happy to show to the world that I'm working here, etc., it's fine with me as well. But if you say I'd rather not have that, okay. But then how many hours have been done per circle? What kind of tasks have been done? Also payments that have been done on period, but again, certainly not with wallet address, but
Of
also
course.
with identifiable information like name or something. But I think if it were up to me, all the rest, I don't see any harm. It gives some information to outsiders on what the program is about, what we're doing.
Yeah.
Most of our energy is going, the width of our the things that we're doing. So I think it's kind of useful and interesting for the right people. Also
Small
for
question.
partners in the future to see all the
Yeah,
things.
it's a good view. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Does that apply to awarded teams and awarded projects? I mean, their name is kind of already public, so I'm not sure.
Awarded teams and projects, they should be stated with their name and project.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
that's what the program is all about.
Yeah,
We don't need to hide how much funding we gave to Fotrack, for instance, which is the
exactly.
biggest thing there. And
Yeah.
some others. That's relevant. That's very relevant information. We should inform people about that.
All right. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good actually, because I was thinking a lot about, okay, we want to make this guest or visitor kind of section as well, but what are we going to put in it? And this is a great, the great content to put in it actually. Yeah.
Maybe also an interesting discussion would be what we want to see from each other. Do we want to see from each other, which people put how many hours? So if I'm in the marketing circle, should I be allowed to look at the review circle and see, oh, Mr. X put in this many hours this week or not? I don't know. I would say that's less of a problem. I think within our circles, we should be able to be open about that. The names are already there, or at least the usernames.
With the current design
internal-
coordinator, sorry for interrupting. With the current design, coordinators are able to see that, but again, it's a matter of really decision, because it's just a little config where you change view or not view, right? So coordinators can see all the members, what are they putting in, and it makes sense. I mean, even with the current kind of status quo, it's already there. With members, I don't see anything against it, because in open project they can already see. So it's not really like hidden somewhere. But yeah,
Said, unless I think the starting point should be transparency, unless there are reasons against it, and not the other way around. But
totally. Yeah, totally.
I'm hoping for others to chime in or to say something else to have this discussion. But yeah.
Rafael, I see your hands up.
It's not about these topics in specific, so please go on. It's for afterward.
I mean, for me, I don't know if there's somebody else wanted to ask. Rafael, are you gonna ask? The other Rafael.
No, you go first. I was just
No, I
gonna,
don't want to say anything. I'm done.
I was just gonna participate in the discussion. I don't have a strong opinion on this, so whatever you want to do in terms of making it more public or less public, I think is fine. I guess eventually if you're protecting addresses and names, which is the most concerning thing, especially outside the circles, I think that's okay. I don't see any, as long as there are no security risks for people, then I think transparency is good, right?
Yeah. Maybe I can give a recommendation as well, since a lot of people come to this meeting. Always assume, I mean, we are in the Web3 space, so always assume a place where you're going to input your information is not secure by default. So I would recommend people, I mean, use emails that are secure, separate your personal email from your work email. Be careful about the link, so people can just get from Mattermost, they can get your email, right? If you click on somebody's profile, you get their email. and you can get all kind of spams. Oh, I mean, I don't see this as something that happens in our community. Thank God. In other communities, I mean, your inbox is always full of spam. But yeah, I mean, we always have to be careful. But we will never share your data with anybody unless it is anonymized. So you won't have to worry about that from our part. But still, do your due diligence, as they say. Yeah, this is it from me. I do have to run to another meeting I mean, very
Okay.
soon. But yeah, thank you
So
very much.
all right, thank you, Rojo. So Ubia was asking how to get the monthly 20% bonus. That was the new system set up instead of charging for 20, and I just like want Operation Circle to answer that. So either Ayo or Mayo, because they're the ones responsible for that. But yeah, thank you, Rojo. I think you can go now. Thank you for your time.
I can actually answer that.
Oh, okay, sure. You can go
Yeah.
ahead as well.
So with the current 20% bonus, since it's an experiment, right? So it's not written in stone. So what will happen is the flow behind it will still be relying on two things. So it will be relying on a sheet where all the records are kept, and there is an automation behind it that calculates what everybody is due. Now, in a month or two, we will probably have a sit down just like this one, and then talk about each person will probably give their opinion. I mean, what are the good things about this system? What are the bad things? And then we get to decide, okay, shall we include it in the main flow in the app as an actual feature, or do we want to go with a better approach, or still the same approach but just with the current kind of solution with sheets and everything? That's a discussion, because developing it does require a lot of funds. So it's not something to be developed and then, oh, we are not going to use it. So that's my my 2 cents on
Okay,
this.
so for currently, the question is basically for circles who have not requested the bonus since it started, like his circle. They've not requested bonus since the bonus thing came up about 2 months ago or 3 months ago now. So like, what's the process for that? I already know the process, but I think it's best for it to be answered to the larger community.
All right, so there is a sheet for every circle. This sheet is usually shared by Ayo. In this sheet, you are basically writing the percentage for each member and then the starting date. Now, since this circle haven't shared the 20% ever, the starting date will be, I believe, the 1st of March or the 1st of April. I don't remember, but
Rojo, 10th of March.
10th of March, yes. The 10th of March will be the beginning. Now, what we're going to do is the automation will go through all the tasks of the members, and it will add them all together, and it will calculate the 20% on them, starting from the 10th of March. So we have all of those records kept, and it will give to each person their percentage of that 20% according to the percentages laid down by the coordinator or by the circle themselves. And that's it. We create payment records for these, and they are paid in the next Thursday from when they submit. And there is a form for submission as well, if I skip that.
Okay,
Yeah,
then.
that's basic process. Yeah.
Okay, then. Thank you for clarifying that. I hope, all circles can know. Presa, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Mariam, just to take advantage of Rojo here. So, yes, Rojo, even though I give the compliment and still here the compliment, but we have to, is Edwin here? Probably yes. So please do a risk assessment on this wallet being shared in the Mattermost, okay? Because we have to be sure that this won't leak or something like this. It's a very sensitive information. So yes, it's a good initiative, but you have to have a risk assessment on security on this. And also reading here on Vani's input, it's also something that can expand through this data that we are sharing, and that what we have with this field of forms and etc. And profiles, and give awareness to members what we have, what we are sharing, and so on. So yes, it's a good point as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay,
on that point, I can comment. So our approach since the beginning was least access possible. So only the people that need to have access to something have access to that thing. So that applies to all the circles, and that applies to everybody who works with people's data. So even for analytics, when they request like data, we go through it, what they actually need, and we give them exactly that thing and not an inch more. And this applies to everybody. Now, the data is also hosted in a world-class platform, which is Superbase, which has all kinds of accreditation from the European Union and from the US and all other jurisdictions. A very secure platform. The access, if you want to go technical, basically the endpoint to access the data cannot be accessed by any IP besides the API IP, and only certain things can be accessed there. So we are really taking like a risk-averse kind of approach to this, and would rather have something broken than actually data being leaked or something like that.
And Mattermost itself.
Yes.
Good to know, thank you. But
in Mattermost specifically, I think in Mattermost it is the best place to share the data, because in email you don't control, maybe you have some wrong email given and then you don't know where that address will go. But at least in Mattermost, you know exactly who the person who received this is. And we know everybody's username, so we're going to be sending it to exactly their username. Right? So it's not going to be accessed by another. So we're not going to share it any channel or something like that. Of course not. It's going to be shared directly in DM. And the bot that is going to be sharing it is actually stateless. So it doesn't keep that address in its memory. So once it shared the address is gone from memory. We don't keep it there. Yeah.
And Mattermost is secure, right? We can consider Mattermost secure enough.
Probably it's better to use Signal or something like this, but I mean, if users would like to start using Signal, that's the most secure. But for now, yeah, Mattermost is our best option.
Sure. Edwin, do you have some addition? If not, I have a next.
No, I mean, yeah, Mattermost, yes, it's secured. It won't leak for that one. We know. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can proceed.
Thank you, guys. Just trying to be extra careful here because, yeah, sensitive information, right? Another topic is it's a big system. It's this operation that, and we are at putting on. So a suggestion here is to work pretty close with the documentation and also marketing with the internal communication. So I'm not sure what we would like to, the flow, the direction, if you would reach out to them or them reaching out to you. But I would really suggest, because just with, I mean, this call to grasp everything that we have to do and so on, that's very important.
Okay, then. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rojo. Yes, you can go off now. I hope that there are no more questions. Or if there are, you could, always send Rojo a personal message, or ask your coordinators and they'll escalate or something in that regard. But yeah, thank you, everyone. I hope that all that's, has been clear so far. So moving on to our next agenda, we have Judith, who's going to share some updates about the AI for Good event happening in Switzerland. Judith, are you here?
Actually, no, I'm not going to give some updates about the AI for Good event because we haven't been there yet. I'll give updates once we're back. We're leaving on Monday, but we wanted to invite everybody that is possibly interested to attend online, and I'll share the link in the chat with the agenda. And they have some really interesting talks on ethics, safety, how it's going to change society, and some very technical talks. So if any of you are really into the topic, then it's probably a good place to attend some of the talks. And I think it is free to attend online. I'll share the link now. And I mean, if you do have questions, you can ask them. There we go. But yeah, other than that, we'll give you an update when we're back. We're leaving on Monday and we'll be back in about a week. And then we'll have updates to share. Rafael?
Yeah, I can just ask a question. It's just a general interest. How is the preparation going? And do you already have plans and metrics you want to achieve? Or how is that going?
I think the plans we already shared last time we had the conversation here around AI for good. We already shared some plans and goals that we wanted to achieve, not with specific numbers. I mean, we do have specific numbers now, but I'm not sure if anyone would be extremely interested. And I mean, we can also share it when we're back what we planned on achieving and what we actually achieved. We'll have the conversation then. In terms of preparation, I'm really happy to report that Ayo got his visa. From Ubio, I haven't heard. Ubio, let us know in the chat if you also got your visa or if we need to be worried about it. I hope you got it by now. It's a bit, yeah, a bit difficult to get these visas from Nigeria, but I'm super happy to report that Ayo got his. And I think everyone else is good to go in terms of, why is Ubio sending laughing faces? Have you gotten your visa? Tomorrow. You're getting it tomorrow? Jesus. We're leaving on Monday, so I really hope this is coming through. In terms of preparation, yeah, there's not a mass amount of stuff that you can prepare beforehand other than the travel arrangements, which all have been made. And then in terms of strategy, I think Ayo and Andrea, they will be responsible for onboarding proposers, and Ubio will be responsible for onboarding partners, mainly probably in the probably mainly for hackathons. And then Rama and I will be responsible for onboarding deep funding platform partners, like partners that want to use the platform. And I think we each have our own, we each have different strategies, and it would be a bit too much to get into it right now, but we'll probably share it once we're back. But thank you for the question. Andrea.
Yeah, thank you, Judith. I just wanted to say that we are working on the landing page for stakeholders in the summit, and it's almost ready. That's also part of the preparations, and I wanted to mention it. So once it's ready, we'll let you know. And we prepared that landing page for deep funding to keep track of people in the summit. So you know how many people have signed up, and we can compare those numbers later with our goals.
Yeah, we'll give you a report on all the numbers so we then can decide if it was worth the money. Overall, I mean, it did turn out to be quite expensive. We're at the top of our budget. For 4 people, we're spending around 10K, but I mean, Switzerland is a very expensive country, and 3 people are coming from overseas. So, but then, yeah, it'll be after the conference, we'll be able to decide if it was worth the effort, and hopefully it was.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Judith and Andrea. Yeah, I would say if you could share the goals that you have before going to the conference, I think that's always better in the name of transparency, but it's up to you.
Sure, I can drop the document in I can drop the document in the all hands channel, but another reminder that people can attend online with that link, so everyone has it.
Cool, thank you. I think now it's up to Miriam, if she's still here. Miriam?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yes, we can.
The video is not up, so sorry. All right, then. Thank you, Judith, and safe travels, everybody. Enjoy Switzerland. Bring home. Ayo and Ubio, I'll text you what to bring home, the specifics. All right. Ensure you do bring them home. Okay. All right, then. Thank you all. So we are moving on to the next person who's going to be sharing some things with us, and it's Vani, who is sharing some editing and proofreading news from the documentation circle. Hi, Vani, are you here?
Cheers, Marion. Yes, I am. I haven't got anything to put on screen or show you. I'm just going to talk.
Yeah, sure.
In Documentation Circle's meeting yesterday, we came up with an idea which we'd just like to see what people think about. It's about editing and proofreading. So, as you might or might not know, Documentation Circle is pretty keen not to be writing or updating people's documentation for them. Obviously, our role is to kind of give you the tools and frameworks to do that yourselves. So we do want to keep, emphasizing that. However, as you also might or might not know, sometimes deep funding's public-facing text-based stuff is not as well written as it might be. Often it's fairly minor proofreading issues, but sometimes it's also over wordiness or sense or factual accuracy or whatever. And if there are errors like that, it doesn't always make deep funding look that great. So how do we address this? So Documentation had the idea of creating a sort of editing and proofreading, I don't know, I'm going to call it a task force, not even a work group really, just a small group of people with really hot proofreading skills, and for that team to sit within Documentation Circle. Sort of like the way the IT circle used to sit within operations, if you see what I mean. So the idea would be that task payments and stuff would be processed via documentation and we'd do the coordinating, but anyone from any circle could get involved if they had the skills and the experience. And the reason for sitting it in documentation is that we realised we will be doing a bit of proofreading and editing anyway of the DF book when it moves to MK Docs. And we realised that several of us have the skills. So it seemed to make sense. We'd probably need to limit it to like 4 or 5 people because there's not loads to do, but there is some. We'd need to create a kind of process or pipeline whereby materials get sent from other circles to this team to be proofread. And we'd have to commit to working fast so people are not waiting for edits. And we need to probably draft some kind of brief guidelines on what gets sent for proofreading. We're thinking that it'd be anything public facing and relatively permanent. So yes to website text, maybe yes to like blog posts, but not every little X post or, not that. It's just stuff that is going to last. Maybe we'd also eventually work towards developing some kind of house style, and style guide. But actually, we'd rather edit sensitively and keep the individual voices and tones of each circle because we've noticed that they are different, and that's good. And probably, I think we would focus mainly on factual accuracy and proofreading type corrections. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's things like punctuation, spelling, grammar, that kind of stuff. But if needed, we would also edit for sense, deal with overwordiness, and look at structural issues, like if something is a bit muddled, but mainly proofreading and factual accuracy. So I just wondered what people think about this, and is it something that we should go with?
Okay, thank you, Judith. So House, what are your thoughts? Questions, suggestions, insights, directions? Oh, so sorry, Vani. I was just thinking it. So sorry, Vani. Thank you, Vani, for sharing. But anyways, guys, do we have questions or contributions, insights, anything of the sorts? Oh wow, okay. Everybody's questions.
No, yeah, but a thought here, very nice. I really think this is something needed, and one interesting thing that's happening in also from onboarding. And sorry, Ubio, I'm not sure if you raised the hand now, and I started
Yeah, I
talking.
think he is. Also,
Okay,
Rama is asking if it isn't a function in marketing circle already.
not for documentation, no. They have the review. Well, Andrea can answer better, of course.
But it doesn't seem
yeah,
what Vani just talked about wasn't documentation, it was public facing. Isn't public
Yeah, but-
facing marketing? I don't know how it works, so don't use my word. I'm just saying if marketing is public facing, then isn't that marketing? I'm just asking.
Well, I will, Vani, would you like to answer that? Think it's better.
Yeah, I can do. As far as I know, there's nothing in marketing. And if there is, I think they need to revise it because stuff that's going out often has corrections that need to be made. But I think we're talking about two different things. We're talking about public-facing documentation, like the kind of things that are going to be in the MK Docs reworking of the DF book, and maybe website text and website forms and that kind of thing. So that really probably doesn't fall under marketing's, then it's not their fault, I guess.
That makes sense. So it's not general copy. That makes perfect sense.
I mean, I don't think there would be anything wrong with like a blog post coming to be edited as well, but I don't think it's the main focus, no.
Blog post, for instance, an illustration that has sentences and phrases on it, it's not about the documentation going there and checking. It should be marketing having this ability to make it. But one thing here that it's interesting, I also think I was talking to onboarding, Vani, and it's interesting because we don't need people from each circles in other circles, right? All the time, I mean, members from marketing, all the circles. But it's good to have marketing perhaps also around operations, perhaps because of education and etc. But one thing that I've been noticing is we can train perhaps one or two members in that specific circle to have a specific ability in checking that or going towards that, really not only for this specific documentation thing, but for everything. Data analytics perhaps can even say, hey, you guys, you are here in marketing, perhaps get this training here, a small one, for you to detect when we really need data things, instead of having one member of data analytics there, which will be 5% of the time talking about analytics and 95% just there hanging, reading,
Yeah.
receiving marketing stuff. So yeah, it's a good approach.
Could I just say on this also, you can't train a proofreader. You can't. I almost think it's genetic. It's like you're
Okay.
either born with proofreader's twitch or you're not. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it's case by case. Absolutely. Yeah, indeed. But Ubio, please.
All right, yeah. Vani, thank you so much for this initiative. And I would say it's been a long waited and needed initiative in the circle. I think my comment would be twofold. It could be seen as a comment or a support, but also be looked as a question as well. I think the first thing I want to ask is, I want to say is, are we gonna have like a public facing channel the same way we have like IT support? Because what I'm seeing it more is looking in that direction of maybe we can call it editing support or whatever we want to call it. But I'm seeing that the same way we have IT support and we have an open interface where everyone can just go in, ask a question, and then there is a response or a help comes immediately. I think that's the same structure I'm also seeing with this. One of the things that I feel this would be helpful, I'm looking from my own angle from the developer outreach cycle, is that we write a lot of blogs, we do a lot of things, and apparently that's not our forte. And it would be nice that when we have these blogs, there's always someone giving a second eye to those blogs. The only question again to that now moves to the second question, which is the speed of response, because sometimes these things happen at almost we are getting things ready and we need to put it up in the next 6 hours, in the next 12 hours. What is the probability that in case we do have such a public interfacing channel, that we would be able to get a response just on time for us to be able to make those posts? Because what happens most times is we put those things in public and then we now realize there is a need to edit. It would be nice if we can have that service before it actually goes public.
I would say that if we do create a team like this, they probably need to cut their teeth on things that are a bit less time sensitive and just see what the workflow's like. It feels like the kind of stuff you're talking about, yes, it's galling if you realise that it should have been edited, but it's kind of ephemeral and it's not like people are going to come back and look at it and go, oh my God. So do you know what I mean? It's maybe not the worst thing. I think it's not as bad as when you've got something sitting on a permanent website that is, that needs an edit. But yeah, I think maybe once we see how the flow goes, then maybe we could have something. And, like I was saying, I think we're all conscious of any kind of proofreading or editing task, it needs to be done promptly. So I would say maybe if we test it out on stuff that is less time sensitive and just see how it goes. But what you were saying about, having a public channel for it, that could be one way. Or the other thing I was thinking, this functionality in Open Project for one circle to request a task from another circle. I don't know if that would be a way of doing it.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at a solution that probably speaks to how we already do. So there's something we are familiar with already right now, which is the IT support. And I think for most of us, the coordinators and most people in the system, we already know how that works. So starting from that known to the unknown is always easier than just creating a new system and then starting with that system. That's just my idea around that.
Yeah, it sounds, yeah, maybe we should do that then.
Maybe on this topic, I'll also give my comment. I think it's a nice initiative. I think it makes sense. I think a positive thing, if you can make it, Vani, is the interaction between these and your circle. Like if you're doing onboarding, I think proofreading all these documents and identifying which are the most relevant
It's
documents.
documentation circle, not onboarding. Sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
sorry. Oh, so maybe it's a good thing to have a connection between the two circles then. It's like you're going through all these documents, and maybe a big part of onboarding is how do you do what documents are you going to show, right? So I think maybe leveraging this team who has proofreaded a bunch of things to identify which documents really need to know, that would be really relevant. And as for the event circle, eventually, if you move into that state of just proofreading blog posts and announcements from circles and um, everything, I guess, that goes out. I don't know if you will, but if you do, I think that would also be very useful for us as a way to identify maybe everything that's happening on deep funding and relevant topics also that should come to this event or should come to the town halls for the wider community.
It feels like one next step might be to draft a little document about kind of what the scope is and what we're going to focus on initially. And I think also we just need to be super clear about what we will and won't do, like what is in and out of scope. A lot of people want a proofreader to give corrections and explain why they're correcting this or that. We haven't got time to do that. We're just going to change the document to how it should be. So I think people would have to accept that. And yeah, I think maybe, if people are looking for tone and style edits, I don't know. I think maybe that would have to be something we do next. Maybe we're looking just at proofreading and factual first. I don't know what people think about that. What would be most useful?
Okay, Ayo, please go ahead and ask a question or share.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. So congratulations to the documentation circle. That's moved from being a work group to a circle. So I think that for culture, what may be quite needed is for circles, new circles, to have official presentations as to what they're about, what they will be doing, and maybe even identified members of the circle. And I think that gives clarity to everyone in terms of what to expect from the circles, in terms of overlap, in terms of questions, in terms of, and things like this. I, for example, I mean, I do not even, I know that it's good to have properly written, well presented documents that's public facing, right? I mean, everyone definitely has to agree to that. So I don't think the what is the issue. I think it's usually the how and the who, especially in a community like this. And so, so if there was a presentation for the circle and say, okay, now officially we are a circle, this is what we do, this is what we are going to be doing, these are the members, this and things like that. I think it may just become quite easy to find collaborations, find resources, find support, you know, and then the whole community is able to rally around the new circle and things like that. And I think that that's just good. That's just what I wanted to say. That may be something that we can, I mean, adopt for new circles, I mean, that we emerge. For documentation work group, I mean, documentation circle, it's a bit different because, I mean, we've all, it's been a long time coming, right? I mean, this has been doing different work, and then their work has also evolved over time as well, right? So for people in documentation circle, you would not know that we don't know because you're just there. You know, what is information for you is like mystery to us. You know, that kind of a thing. Yeah, but good one. Thank you.
Thanks. I should just say that, yeah, documentation, I'm not sure if we're officially a circle yet or not, but I think we're probably not, right, Rafael? I think we are working on a kind of, what would you even call it, like a foundational document, which will be shared really, really soon. But it's just that I think I'm raising this today because it happened to come up in our meeting yesterday, and it felt like something that is an initiative that could spread beyond documentation circle itself. I mean, also, while we're all here, if there is anybody here today who's got really hot proofreading skills, we'd kind of like to know, I guess. And if you'd be interested in doing some work on this, I would like to think that people could do it without necessarily joining documentation circle.
Okay then. All right, thank you, Vani. Are there any more questions or insights? I think Abdul was raising his hands, but I can't see him anymore. Abdul, are you here? Do you have questions? I can't find him anymore, actually. Oh, okay, he's cleared. All right then, brilliant. Thank you, Vani. Thank you for your time and well done on this initiative again. Whoop, let's applaud Vani. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving on to the very last bit of our agenda today, and looks like we might be right on time today. Glory. We have Edwin, who's going to be sharing some open project insights. We know that open projects is something that we've not really, what's the word, gotten used to yet. So Edwin is here to answer all of our questions. Remember that there are no silly ones, and even if the questions have been answered in times past, please ask again until you are clear. Okay, Edwin, over to you. Open project insights. Thank you.
Yeah. More than questions is also, I think, the report of the insights. You know, I think from what I understand, there was also a survey, and is going to be sharing some of those results, right, Edwin?
Yeah. Okay. So
You
let's
need
just
host
walk through.
permissions, right? Are you sharing your screen?
Let me see. Just give me a second. Right. Let's see. Sure.
Okay.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So this survey was literally sent out. It's been a month. A month now. If not more than though. So we didn't get much participation though out of a group of over 60 circle members. We had only 16 individuals partaking in this survey. If you look at the usage patterns, and we are going to see how each user interact with open projects weekly. I think we have, based on the people that answered the survey, you have 7 people interfacing with open project weekly. Daily, we have 5 people. Occasionally, we have 3, and rarely using the platform, that's just a single person. And the ease of use, well, from the data we got, although not majority, many of them found it easy to use. If you look at the ratings, 6 people said it was very easy. 4 people are neutral, and 3 people are somewhat easy, and 3 people say it was somehow difficult. We look at how the training went, and some satisfaction. Just move this right here. So the training received, 8 people said they received some adequate training. 6 people somehow, and I think 1 person said she didn't receive, and he or she didn't receive any training. Well, we asked if the system made tax transparent to everyone and accountable, which majority agreed with it. And this is the chart of the transparency right here. And overall satisfaction, well, out of the 16 people, 6 people are satisfied, 4 people were neutral, 4 people were very satisfied, and 2 people were dissatisfied. So the suggestions that people brought up were, yeah, I think the tax edit and was sort of cluttered all around. So if there's some way to, sort of streamline it, some people suggested onboarding videos and more training access. And because it's only 16 people, today I'm here to throw the question to all of you again. What are the pain points? What are the challenges? What can we do better, or what suggestions do you have? Over to you guys.
Okay, so do we have questions? Yeah, Vani, please go right ahead.
Yeah, I've been kind of adding loads of backlog tasks of mine today, so it's really on my mind. One thing I've noticed is that, say, like, for instance, if you're in onboarding's board, it still asks you which circle. It feels like some things could be auto-filled because it's obvious. And it like wastes your time to have to add it. But I don't know, maybe there's reasons why. And the other thing is kind of the repeating tasks. I know you've done a lot of work on making that functionality work, but I don't know, I'm finding it really awkward when, say, for instance, there's a repeating task for a meeting and people are all in the work group are assigned to it, but then say if you missed that meeting, I don't know how you say that you missed it, so that you're not paid for a meeting you didn't go to. It feels still a little bit fiddly, but I do want to say the training you did was fab, and I think it's a great tool. I really like it.
Okay, let me just tackle the recurring tax. So basically, let's say you have a meeting, let's say you have a recurring meeting every weekend on Wednesday. So once what do you call it, the meeting is done, you move to audited, it get archived, and it recreates the meeting again, right? Assuming next week the meeting didn't come off, that means that particular tax still should be impending, right? Until you move it as and when. So if next week's meeting didn't come, then if you don't move it to, if it's not archived, that card is still going to remain in pending. So anytime you have that meeting, then you can just move it to done and it archives and recreate it. So it can just be there. If it's not moved, it's still there. It won't recreate it again unless it's archived. I don't know if that answers that
No,
question.
that wasn't what I was asking, really. I'm talking
Okay.
about the fact that it's the circle coordinator who manages moving that task. And I don't think somebody who's not the coordinator can take themselves off as an assignee. Because I think what people are doing is they're creating tasks for a meeting and assigning everybody in the work group. And then if you weren't there, you can't say that you weren't there before it goes to auditing.
Yeah, issue looks peculiar. Anyway, I'll delve into your issue, but are you saying let's say documentation or onboarding, you create one tax for everyone? As in, let's say it's a meeting.
I mean, we're not, but I think some circles are. Say, for instance, I have a thing where I can't get to review circle meetings because I have another commitment, but I'm getting notifications that I'm one of the assignees for review circle meetings. And it's like, well, I didn't go. So I don't know what to do about those notifications. This is maybe a really niche question, so maybe, I don't know, maybe I should DM you or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, getting notifications for things that.
Let's consider Microsoft Word. Well, I have. I think there was a time where I had the same experience with Vani. I kept getting notifications for someone assigning tasks to themselves, but I was getting notified about it. I didn't really think much of it because I was like, maybe they'll change that as time goes, so that, let's say, for example, Van is the one creating tasks on the board. Let her be the only one to get the notification, not me. I'll go to the board and I'll see like 50 notifications and I have to like mark them as read because it's not exactly my concern, That's just my own POV.
Okay. So just to be clear, if you are not an assignee of a tax, if you are not a coordinator of the tax, you shouldn't be getting any notification. But there is a circle group in every circle, right? Because I realize some of especially in the onboarding and circle, you instead of choosing an accountable person, you rather, let's say, you rather choose an onboarding member. Now, that is not a real member, that is a group name, and it includes everyone. If you choose that, everyone is literally going to get notified.
Oh, that's not what we did. We actually have one person accountable, which is Innocent Darlington, as at the moment. We do not have everybody doing that. He's the only person accountable for now until we decide to pick someone else.
Okay, then we'll delve into your case. We'll scope into it and see what the issue is over there.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Abdul, you're raising your hand as well.
Thank you, Mariam. Exactly what I want to mention is what Edwin said. In the case of review circle, there is the group tag for that can be assigned as accountable, and if that is picked or selected, so every single member of the circle will receive the notification. So that's exactly what I want to say.
Okay, then, no problem. Thank you. So are there any more questions? Do we have any more issues? I feel like there are more. Ayo. Is Ayo here? He did have some questions.
Yeah, for
Sorry.
Edwin, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, but somebody wanted to speak. Please go ahead. I'll have some
Yes,
questions.
who please go ahead.
Sorry, it was just to suggest a feature. Edwin asked for feedback, So I just wanted to say that I would really like what Vani said earlier on, if we're on the onboarding circle, can it just automatically put the option there, like onboarding circle, unless every other person has access to that board, which I do believe they don't. I mean, I would like that automated, just putting it out there. They actually like the idea. Thank you, Edwin.
Ma'am, come again with your question. I didn't get clear.
And so it's Love that was speaking.
Okay, Love, if you can go over your question again. I lost you. I think my internet's buggy.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, I'll say that I would really like the feature where Vani said, let's say, for example, you're in onboarding circle, you're creating a task. Can it be automatically filled in that you are actually in onboarding circle instead of us having to look for the circle that we're a part of? I'm not saying it's a biggie, but it would be nice to have that feature if it's possible, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get that. We'll look. It was actually the way the back end is. That's why we had to go that route. But we'll look at more ways to make it simpler.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so Abdul is asking, is it possible to delete a created task that no one is working on anymore? Or perhaps the task is assigned to another person?
So currently it's impossible to delete any tax. If you feel the tax is not needed, either you leave it, just leave it up pending.
Yeah, okay, maybe I
Thank
can go
you.
now.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Edwin. So, Edwin, on some levels, this is probably maybe something to work internally with you, thinking operations and IT circle, but just to get people's feel about it, I intend to just, suggest it, also talk about it here a little. And it's the fact that to consider that usually when tasks are being it gets archived, right?
Sorry, I
And
think you have to come again. You went off for a second there.
oh, okay, sorry about that. Oh, I don't know the last thing you had. All right, so I was saying that when tasks are processed for payment, they get archived automatically, right? And so is it something cool to consider to get a notification to know what has been archived? Now, the idea for that would be maybe that then comes with the hours, or maybe that then comes with some information regarding that part time. And then people can reference that with the notification that they get once they are paid, right? So that I've gotten I'm sure you've also gotten some of the same complaints about people not knowing if what they got was the hours that they requested, because sometimes it may not necessarily even be that you didn't get the hours. It could be that maybe token price drop at some point. So nothing even happened from our end. It's just Web3 being Web3, right? So but if there was such information about what was archived and then an information about what was paid, you can directly see, and then if there are discrepancies, and then it's even easier to trace, in that kind of scenario. So I was just considering that is there something that we could do towards that end, or is it maybe a feature that can show on the dashboard? Anyone I think would be fine. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. That was the very last piece we were to build in there. But then again, this very piece is a function that was built in the what do you call it? The portal that Rojo demo. So we felt, well, I think we are left for a month for it to be launched for members. So why not just wait till then? That was pretty much how we left it. Although I understand those concerns, and I actually have that concern, but it was about if we spend time doing this, in a matter of just a month, we'll launch the portal anyway, where users will get a breakdown of which tax have been paid, which tax are yet to be paid, and all those kind of stuff.
So so better to just wait it out.
That was we can do it, but the portal will be here soon. I don't know. It's up to Rafael if we should go that route. I don't know. We can do it, but that was the conclusion we had with Ro.
Okay, so Abdul is raising his hand, and then I think that's Victor raising his hand as well. So Abdul, let's have you first, then Victor.
Okay. Thank you, Mariam. My other feedback is more related to what Ayo has mentioned regarding tax being archived. I discovered early this morning that I was supposed to log a particular task on a review circle last week, but I wasn't sure if I did or not. So to clarify that, I had to check the archive if peradventure that has been reviewed earlier before or not. But I couldn't find that particular task. But it was a surprise again that there were tasks that I'm sure that I logged and that has been paid, but I couldn't find those in the archive any longer again. So I want to be sure, is there any other place that the archive go in a particular period of time, or perhaps, yeah, I want to be sure what is happening there so that it will be important that we understand the process as well. Thank you.
So yeah, good. None of the archive tags is deleted. Everyone should be there. Sometimes just look at, maybe you have a certain level of filtering on already there. I don't know how, but every tax that has been paid is surely in archive, like in the archive section.
Probably I will have to check again, but I'm sure there are some that I couldn't find as of this morning. Yeah. And but I've been paid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can always cross-check if you, but one thing for sure, all the tax is still there in archive. We can cross-check from the back end as well. So that is very easy to cross-check.
Okay.
Okay. So Vani is saying something in the chat box. She's saying the other thing that we ace is if in a specific circles board, the drop down for tax category could be only the tax categories which that particular circle uses. So that because we already did the work of identifying and defining our tax categories.
Okay, so that is also a work in progress. Initially, what we did with Open Project was to just take the existing system and model something around it. Now, that's what we did. So if you look at the old tax payments, all the categories were there, then we did it. Then I think this was a request from the review circle to just, what do you call it? Make sure each circle sees its own category, right? So then we need to rework every circle's template. And it's a major work which we have started already, but it will take time to get it physical and validate it with the rest of the people.
Okay, then. Vani, I believe that has cleared your question. Okay, Mayor, please ask your question.
It's not really a question per se. It's more like a contribution to what Edwin has been saying, and he replied to Ayo's message as well, or Ayo's questions as well. Rojo, before he left, mentioned that there is going to be, with the launch of the new portal, there is going to be a push notification where before a payment is made, there is a notification sent to your DM or your Mattermost DM that you are about to be paid so and so amount of dollar, and this is the wallet address it's going to be paid to. So you now seeing that notification would like come around and be like, okay, is my wallet address correct or not? If it's not, you reach out to the operations circle and we get to help you fix it. So I guess that push notification will solve a lot of problems with which tax are being paid or which tax have not been paid, right? And then for the other parts where you don't even know which tax are being paid, I guess the new portal tool will also solve that, where you can just see which tax are paid or not. So with the launch of the new portal, there is going to be a lot of should I say questions answered with open projects and tax recorded.
Okay, then Rakosi and then Ayo and then Rafael. Is that the second defunding? Who is it? Or Priscilla? I'm not quite sure. But Rakosi, let's have you, please.
Yes, I just wanted to provide a bit of input to Abdul's question. Well, it happened to me as well. I had logged some tasks that were audited, but I couldn't find them right in the archive session. So what I did with the workaround was to filter and put my name. So when you put your name as a filter, everything comes right under your name. Basically, you will be able to see everything that you've been paid for, everything that's archived, everything that's in the done, right? So try that. It might work for you. It works for me, and it still works now. When I look in the archive section, I'm unable to find certain things, but when I filter, it just provides everything that's, pertaining to me, and it helps me out. Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Edwin, did you get that?
Yeah.
All right then.
No, I mean,
Thank you.
But
yeah.
but that was for Abdul, right?
Yeah, that was for Abdul, but it was actually Edwin who helped me, who guided me through.
Edwin,
So I think he forgot the fix.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yes. So quickly, two things. Mayor. So I mean, I totally get that. Rojo mentioned that. But yeah, but there is a fine line between task management and then payment processing. Now, if we sync together and we decide to make it a single, I mean, a single medium for two types of information, no problem, right? I mean, I don't see any problem with that. I'm just saying that as far as task management is concerned, sometimes people need to know. But Ro has also mentioned that for payment, there will be transparency and information regarding payments, what to expect, wallet confirmations, and things like that, so that people can do some self-auditing in terms of where payments will be received and things like that. So in my mind, it's a little bit different, even though it's like, they flow into each other. So, I mean, that's why I started by saying maybe something that IT circle and operation circle will really discuss and see how this works. But I mean, apparently fine. Now, for the filter, the filter does work, right? And one of the things that I was able to do personally on my board was that I was able to filter and save those filters. So the filters they self-arrange, So I have a filter for archived, a filter for ongoing task, I have a filter, and things like that. So the so the issue is that maybe what we are trying to do is we are trying to see how to make this simpler, right? So there's already what exists, and there's just maybe how to just even make it slightly, simpler. So that was it. But yes, Rakosi, thank you. Cheers to the filter and the filterers.
Okay, then thank you, Ayo, for that. Who is the second deep funding that was raising hand? Where are you? Rafael, is that you?
It wasn't me before. I don't know who it was. So maybe it was Priscilla.
Oh, okay. So who else has a question?
I have a question, I guess, or maybe
Yes, please
questions
go
and some
ahead.
remarks. One thing that would be really cool, I don't know if it's possible, is when you are at the board and you want to duplicate the task, would be for the edit task to like show up like a normal board task. So imagine if I create a task in the board, directly in the board, it just shows up like a pop-up, not really a pop-up, but I stay in the board. While if I duplicate the task, I'm taken like to another section, and then when I finish the task, I'm not in the board anymore, and I need to go back into the board manually. So that's why I avoid using the duplication, just because it takes me a lot of steps. But if I could stay in the board after doing that duplicated task and editing it, that would be amazing because it would be much faster. I don't know if that's possible for the future.
Okay.
Another
I'll look into
thing,
that. Yeah, go on.
just asking from you, it's like you were mentioning that if you have a call that is repeated every day, you can do the repeating task. A question I have is, what if you have something that you need to do every week, but not exactly on a fixed day? So like it can be one day, it can be another, and you don't really know when it's going to be. Right now I'm doing it still manually, but I don't know if that could be something I could use as a recurring task, and how would I adapt it?
Yeah, I mean, a recurring tax is a recurring tax. It doesn't have to be meetings. And one thing you should notice is you can still edit the time. It recreates for you, and if you feel that is not the time, you can change it to the time that you'll be having it. So it's purely editable once it's recreated for you.
All right, awesome. And another question, just the last one, is as a coordinator, it would be really useful to be able to get out a CSV maybe every month or in a predetermined date. Maybe this already exists, I don't know, that's why I'm asking, of all the tasks of all the members. Would that be possible to do through Open Project? If it is, please show me. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that is called a spend time management. Yeah, you can push to CSV for all the tax members. Yeah, it's very possible.
Okay, so maybe I should reach out to you and you could show me how to do that sometime. All right, awesome. Thank you, Edwin. On my side, that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Edwin. Are there any more questions for Edwin? I think you guys have to, contribute money for Edwin's bottled water, Pepsi, coffee, whatever it is, because you've drained him thus far. So, Edwin, maybe drop your wallet address in like all circles. If you asked him a question, please send him a token to buy water. But yeah, that's basically it. So are there any more questions for him before we let him go? More questions, more insights? I think that for now, the one thing you can take home is that
So when you say let him go, so when you say let him go, it means that Edwin was actually arrested.
Well,
Edwin was brought in for questioning.
He
Edwin
was
brought in
brought in
for
for
questioning.
We literally brought him for questioning. Is that what we did? We literally drilled him with all of our questions. But I mean, I did say ask your questions. So in a way, so send again, like I said, send him money for bottled water because he has tried so much today. But yeah, so I like to finish right on time, and we have 4 minutes. So if you've not asked a question and you thought, oh, you want to wait at the end, now is the time. Please ask a question or forever hold your peace. So how do they say it?
And maybe ask if there's somebody who wants to share anything else or bring any discussions into this last 5 minutes.
Yes. So yes, whatever it is, remember I said this is a support themed event. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the topics we've had thus far. If you have like a question, insight you'd like to share with the bigger community or an invitation as well, please go ahead to do it before our time elapses.
I mean, I have one question though. Now,
where is the doctor?
So looking at the bonus, well, from all indications for analytics, IT, we tend to have approach of 20% of everyone's tax, right? And well, the overhead in calculating for the bonus is, I mean, there's some overhead in there. And I feel if after every month we are just going to request 20% of the tax everyone has done, then why don't we just make it $12 per tax to alleviate those, what we call it, then calculating of bonus, because at the end of the month, we are anyways going to calculate 20% of everyone's bonus and just share it across. It's still the same.
Sorry, can I come in?
Yes, then you, then Rakosi.
Yeah, there are some people that don't, I can't remember them right now, but they don't use the 20% of everybody's tax. So paying $12 per tax would be, I don't know if how the circle will see it, but it doesn't work. I think marketing circle doesn't do the $20 per tax or 20% per tax, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it can be done circle-wise basis. I mean, based on each circle's what do preferences.
No, I think if we want to go for the $12 per tax, it means that everybody must agree on it, because we cannot have some circles doing this and other circles doing that. I'm just trying to say that not all circle goes for 20% of whatever they made or whatever they worked for. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Okay, so like it's not like something that cuts across all circles. So changing it to $12 may also still not affect all circles again. So
exactly. So maybe what discussing?
Yeah, I get that, Mayor, but so you guys see how hard is it for IT Circle to
We are
literally
sorry. We'll send you money. We'll
to
do
literally
Bali. We'll send it to
configure
Bali
things
soon.
for circle-wise basis. So it's what the thoughts do. Technically it can be feasible. I mean it's all about agreeing, but I know we can't sort of find a way around it. My worry is just because I literally get people asking, so how do we calculate the bonus and your one sheet? And I mean it's an extra work if it can be avoided. I mean, if at the end of the month you are probably going to calculate 20% of everybody's tax, then I don't know how it is done in other circles, as you were saying, though, but if many people are facing this challenge, then we might look at it.
Okay, then. Who wants to address that? Presa, do you have something to say? In regards to that.
Me?
You
asked me?
Yes.
No, it's pretty much from each circle to go on and create their own rules, so or policies around that. That's the beauty, right? But I have, well, if I may say something here around this 20%, it's important for us to be creative in using this 20% for motivating and rewarding members that are more active or have worked more, went that length away and further and so on, right? So, but in the end, it's up to the circle to decide which would be such a parameters and if they want and so on. So,
Thank you then.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, Edwin, it's up to the circles to decide how they want to rule themselves and just communicate that to the deep funding team and would, find a middle ground or something.
But do expect for each circle to have its own way. We can in the future assess each of the ways that each circle is doing and say, hey, this part here is better, good, and the other one good, and then we concatenate, well, in a consensus way with everyone and create one last solution for it. But it's good to even experiment this way as well and try to understand what's the best way of doing this here. Kind of that's why we didn't want to say, yeah, let's do the bonus in this way, because we also want to see what you come up with, good ideas and thinking on it, processes and etc.
Okay. All right then. Thank you, Prasad.
I do have a last minute thing here, not minute, but we are having this month, by the end of the month, we are going to have the half-year reports, right? So be prepared, Ayo, if he didn't yet, but he will get in contact with you for the circles to create and make their own half-year reports. So we are now with this calendar of, it's going to be the subsequent month after the half year, right? So we have July and January for doing this, and most by the end of the month, in order to give you time to create and work on these reports. Ayo.
Thank you. So Ayo, please share like deadlines and other things for us to note.
Yeah, I think Rafael already mentioned like the most important information. July 23rd, it's a Wednesday. It's going to be the same time with the all ends. But most importantly, I also want to encourage SHACU members and coordinators to also fill in their task at least till June 30 as soon as they can, because some of the metrics that will be supplied for coordinators, which would be factored and put into their reports will cover January 1st to June 30. Right. So if we have circles or members who have till June 30 that is not yet filled in, it might influence a little in terms of the metrics or in terms of the numbers. So it's just good to bear that in mind. No pressure, but it's just good to have. The reason we are mentioning that is that one of the things that you will get is metrics, hours, figures, payment, and and things like that. And we want it to capture till June 30th. And if those things have not been done, we don't get to give you those. And then when we give you those, we also want you to have enough time to put in the report. CC Rafael Cardoso. Thank you so much.
All right, then. Thank you. And I believe that's all. We are about 4 minutes over time, but I'm proud of you all. I really am proud of you all for keeping to time. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to everyone who has shared, 1 or 2 on the topics, people who've asked questions, who've had this family meeting in the comment section, as I see. But yeah, thank you for all the humor, the banter, for your participation and your interactions. We really are grateful from all of us at the event circle. So yeah, thank you guys, and see you next week for the town hall. Yeah, interesting things are happening next town hall, insider information anyways, so be there. And yeah, that's basically all we have. Closing words: be fruitful and multiply. Goodbye. Bye, everybody.